Hello and welcome to Northern Illinois Biz Chats. I'm your host, Susie, with the Gift Wrap Place, also known as wrapwithbo.com.
And I'm your co-host, George Chase.
These chats are sponsored by wrapwithbo.com
and the George Chase Insurance Agency.
Thanks for tuning in and enjoy this episode of Biz Chats.
Also known as NIBC.
Another episode of Northern Illinois Biz Chats. So we are so happy to have all of you viewing and checking us out today. I want to introduce Adam Guss
Good morning.
of Berkshire Hathaway Starck Realty. All right, so tell everybody about yourself.
Absolutely. Good morning. Yeah, and thank you guys very much for doing this.
Love having you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, this is exciting. Yeah, so my name is Adam Guss. I am a real estate broker with Berkshire Hathaway Starck here in Woodstock. We're at 112 Cass Street, so we are neighbors.
Neighbors.
It was about a 20-second walk to get here.
Okay, love it.
Yeah, it is uphill. It is uphill.
Love it. A few stairs.
Yeah, a couple of stairs. But
No
it was
lifetime
easy,
no
right?
lifetime needed.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's me.
Always in this office, or are you remote as well?
Yeah, so it's interesting. So I do go into that office every day, primarily because I really like being on the square. In fact, right. In fact, when you get into this business, you really can pick the office that you want to work.
Okay.
And as I was looking around, I actually live in Crystal Lake.
Yeah.
And there is an office in Crystal Lake, and it's lovely, and it's a nice place to work as well. But when I came to Woodstock here,
The conveniences.
well, and I saw that office literally sits on the square, and that I can sit there and look out on that all day. Just in terms of
People watching.
Yeah, well, and just the feel.
Oh, there's a lot of people watching.
Yeah, and I believe in that. I believe that the kind of the environment you're in is real important.
Oh,
And,
totally.
it's just a wonderful place to be. So
And the second story of
Yeah.
your space,
Yeah.
looking out over that from the
Right.
second
Same.
story.
That's
It's
what
like
we
being
have
up here.
here.
You
Yeah.
got a beautiful
Yeah.
view of everything going
Yeah,
on.
you're
Yeah.
perched
So
up there.
interesting story. But my wife and I, we had our wedding reception at the time it was Joey T's. Now it's Oscars, I believe.
Oh.
And we and the building at 112 Cass was like it was a little bed and breakfast.
Oh,
and so
sure.
I spent my wedding night in the upstairs of the office that I work in now. So that was.
So that's how much
Uh-huh.
he loves
That's
the
right.
square. See?
That's
History,
right.
legacy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's
exactly right.
fabulous.
That was your wedding and your wedding dinner?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
My wife and I, fun fact,
Yeah.
had our rehearsal dinner upstairs.
You did.
At what was Joey T's.
Yeah, it was wonderful. It was a great place.
Up
Yeah.
above Oliver.
So you understand that
Oh, yeah,
now
absolutely.
whatever
That's great.
happens with that place,
Yeah.
it's keeping people in the area.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah,
So
Oliver's,
are they-
I'm sorry, I said Oscars.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't I? But
You
it's
did say,
Oliver's.
I
Yeah,
thought.
sorry.
I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
that could
I
get
misspoke.
confusing.
I misspoke.
Oliver's and
It's
Oscars.
Oliver's,
What are we
yeah.
doing in the square? And you're
100%.
bringing. What about your kids? Are they staying in the area or?
Yeah, so I have two daughters.
Yeah.
My older daughter lives in Milwaukee. She goes to school there. She's at UWM.
Yeah.
And so she lives in Milwaukee. And then my younger daughter is still in high school. She's like I said, we live in Crystal Lake. So she's a freshman at Crystal Lake Central.
Okay,
Yeah.
so they're local though.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she didn't
Yeah.
want to go to school in California. She's
No,
staying
they're
local,
still.
so-
Thank goodness. No,
Yeah.
I think they're staying close.
Okay.
Yeah, and we, my family, multi-generational in this area. Wendy and I. So I grew up. I went to high school in Crystal Lake, and then we went down to Southern Illinois.
Which high school? It matters,
South. Crystal Lake South.
South was the athlete.
Yeah, I
Go
went.
Gators.
Central's the
I'm a Gator.
intellects.
Yeah. Well, my daughters went to Central.
Okay.
My parents went to Central. But yeah, so Wendy and I, we went down to SIU, to Carbondale for
Okay.
college, and didn't necessarily think or plan that we would come back and be in this area forever. But 30 years later, or whatever it is, here we are. So
That's
we are
fabulous.
long-term, full-term, locals. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then
Circle of
how
life.
did you segue into the real estate business?
Yeah.
That's-
So and that's a relatively new thing for me. Most of my career, I was in the telecommunications industry, and so I did that for almost 30 years.
That's
It
big.
was a long time.
Yeah.
It was a long time, and
Fantastic.
I was in management for 25 of those years, and
So here's my question
Yeah.
about that real
Yeah.
quick. Are they spying on us? I think they're spying on us.
As far
He
as
can't
I
say
know,
he signed it.
I can tell you, I never.
He
actively spied.
he signed some agreement. He
I don't.
can't say.
Yeah, somebody is. Somebody is. Yeah.
So, he
Yeah.
saw behind the scenes and he's
Right.
like, I'm going into real estate.
Yeah. So I did that for a very long time. I did that for almost 30 years, and that was one of those things. I started doing it in my 20s, and I was in college when I took the job, and it was at the time I thought a summer job, and then all of a sudden it was 30 years later. You know, it was just one of those things. It sort of happened.
So you were truly a lineman for the county?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
There
I
you
sure
go.
was. Yeah, thank you. Yeah,
That's a big
Just
job.
like-
So
Yeah.
is that the buckets?
Yeah. Yep.
He's
Yep.
up
That's
in
what
the
I did. That's what I
buckets.
did at the end. Yep. Yep. I managed those guys, and
Yeah.
some people have called it a midlife crisis. That's not exactly how I described it, but I just kind of reached a point in life where it was just time to do something different
And get involved in the
and
community.
get
I
involved
mean,
in
real
the
estate
community.
is the best way to be an
100%.
outreach and really get to know what's going on in the area.
100%.
We are excited about our sponsorships.
Yeah, thanks to Cicerone's Cafe and Deli here in Woodstock. They provided us with a great coffee setup for our business.
I was ready to do something different, and real estate had always been a hobby for me. It was something that, in a very strange way, I always enjoyed following. I watched everything that hit the market. I kind of tracked what things sold for. It was interesting to me. It was fun for me. My mom was in the industry, like when I was in high school and college, and so maybe a little bit of it in the
Oh,
blood.
sure, rubbed off.
You grew up
Yeah,
with it, sure.
yeah, but it
Yeah,
was just something that
absolutely.
I was always fascinated with, and I thought, what if I made a career out of something that I just genuinely enjoy?
So how's it going?
Oh, it's amazing! It's so good. I will tell people it was the best decision I ever made. I love the work. I love working with people, right? Which is really what this. I mean, I think most business, when you get down to it, it's really about dealing with people. But this really is.
Oh, of course.
It really is, and it's fantastic.
There's an intimacy with the property.
100%.
You know,
100%, yeah.
I mean, there's so much that goes and that's involved in a purchase or a sale,
Yeah.
and you really get intimately into folks' lives.
You really do, and you realize
He's
that
a little nosy. That's what it was. It's a
bit.
little nosy.
Sometimes that are really at their most vulnerable,
Right, exactly.
Sometimes they're scared, sometimes they're sad, sometimes they're angry,
Right.
and you're dealing with people that genuinely need some help,
Right.
and you're in a position to do that, and it's so rewarding.
Totally
you know?
therapy.
Yeah. Sometimes,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
really are, and that's okay.
You will not get hit by the tornado here.
Is there any one story that kind of stands out in your mind as far as either a purchase or a sale where
Yeah.
you really helped somebody out?
There's one, and it's not like I did anything like anything crazy or anything like really outstanding, but it was one situation where it was somebody who just genuinely needed the help, and obviously I won't be specific about
Of course.
who or where this was.
Yeah.
Oh,
Great.
no, divulge.
Yes, please.
We wanna know.
But it was a woman who actually was selling by owner. So I wasn't working for this woman. She was selling by owner, and she was going through a divorce, which by her telling of the story, I would just assume was somewhat
Divorce and
contentious,
property is always
right?
sticky.
And she did not want to move. She didn't. She loved this house, and the house was
yeah.
amazing. It's one of the favorite houses I've ever seen.
Oh, okay.
And it was amazing. And she had raised her family there. She did not want to move, but she had to. I was working with the buyer, so I was on the buyer side. I was working for them. She was not working with the realtor, but she didn't really know how to navigate this process.
It's huge,
right? It's a
right.
big deal, and there's a lot. There's a lot involved, and I was able to assist her through that process, and I did wind up bringing the buyers to it. And so, even though I wasn't working for her, I was able to work with her.
So did she have to sell?
She did have to
She
sell.
did,
She
but,
did have to sell.
but you helped her through the process,
was
so she
able-
felt good about the sale.
and bring her some buyers that she felt amazing about, because it was a young couple who was bringing their young children,
Yes.
and they were going to essentially be able to kind of duplicate her experience that she had with that house, and it was very important to her that it was.
I think it's a big deal
Yeah.
because when you love your house so
Yeah.
much and you have to turn that house over,
Yeah.
you don't want to go by it and see weeds.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't want to go
Right.
by it and see the house is falling apart.
Right.
Your house
That
is like
is-
a family member.
It is.
You want the house to be as well taken care of.
100%.
as
That's
you
a
do your
great
family.
story.
Yeah, and it was,
That's
it
a
was
great
nice.
story.
It was just one of those
Yeah.
ones where it got done where I and I think that just life is like this. very few things are truly selfless. Even when you're doing something to help somebody, like you're getting a lot out of it,
Hugely.
And I just it just felt good to help somebody navigate that process, and it was still difficult for her. Don't get me wrong, but be able to make it just a little bit easier for her.
That
it
is,
was
I
amazing.
agree with you. Yes.
And when you're getting into this business, it's different than most in that typically you as a broker, right, as I am, you don't get interviewed and hired. You actually get to interview the brokerage and find the one that seems like the best fit for you. And there's all sorts of things that go into that. Different companies have, different splits and different fees and things like that. And you can kind of do the math and see what makes sense.
But there's a kid, there's a lot of young people up and coming that want to be in real estate.
Yeah.
So if they wanted to look at,
Yeah.
are you right now looking for agents or?
Yeah. Always, yeah. They're always doing some recruiting, and they're always open to more agents for sure. But for me, Starck was just the best fit in terms of the feel of not just the building, but the people and just kind of and it's a very the Starck. It's still run by the Starck family.
Starck family.
Almost exactly.
Yeah,
in
yeah,
fact, almost to the
that's a
day.
fabulous
Yeah.
time. It's a honeymoon.
Yeah, it is. And what's been real fun about this first year is that initially every deal you do. And I think this probably actually goes on forever, but every deal you do, you learn something new that you can bring to that next one, And I think in talking to people that have been doing this for 30 years, they tell me that really never stops. Because no two deals are exactly the same.
Never.
You're always learning something.
Oh,
different,
never.
Right? Like you have to say, like, all right, am I making a decision or not?
Dip your toe in the water.
George is
right?
like, are we doing
Get a
this thing?
feel
Are we
for-
not doing this
Yeah.
thing? I'm like, I'm not sure if we're doing this thing, George.
We're doing it.
George is
We're
like,
doing
just do
it.
the thing. I'm like, all right, put the table up, put the camera up, let's go.
We looked this morning in Woodstock right now.
Yeah, I'm hearing about that.
Single family homes, 29. 29 available in the entire city of
And
Woodstock.
everyone's pouncing
And
on those
everyone is
29.
pouncing. And so
yeah.
it's got to get pre-approved. You've got to have all of your kind of money and everything in line.
Right.
You have to be able, if you see something you like, you have to be able to go.
Gotta have
now.
your ducks in a row.
So
This is the cruise
I
line
just
that
don't
is
like the
most-
black water, you guys.
Yeah.
I like when it's sunny and you stop at the ports.
Yeah.
But at night on the black water, I'm like, I'm not going
Yeah.
anywhere.
Yeah.
I don't trust anything. I always think of Titanic. And I'm not going to make it.
We took a we did an Alaskan cruise about a year ago. And,
I heard
that.
those are fabulous.
Yeah.
So did we.
Got to watch those whales.
We ran into some terrible weather. You talk about the black water.
Yes.
We ran into such bad weather.
Speaking of Titanic.
Yeah, we ran into such bad weather that we actually couldn't leave port because they had one of those atmospheric rivers that sat over Seattle and it kind of trapped us in there. And then in order to make up time,
Oh,
we
my
had to spend
goodness.
like 48 straight hours
you had polar
out
bears.
in the black water where you couldn't.
That's what I'm
and 30-foot
saying.
swells, everybody was sick. It was.
That's
it was
what
tough.
I'm
Yeah, it was
saying.
tough. Yeah.
Yeah, I like Lake Geneva.
Yeah, it's fine.
So what's going on with the AI in your world?
For me,
Because it can get crazy.
it can get crazy. For me personally, it hasn't been real impactful yet. I do think that it is one of those things that if you don't get on board with it, though, pretty quickly, you're gonna get left behind. We're doing a lot of horse properties right now.
This is horse country.
This is horse country. But
country.
absolutely, we'll do land, we'll do commercial.
A little bit of
Sorry,
of a
we're doing the
conversation.
thing.
So
Yeah.
I challenged Adam to send us 2 truths and a lie. 2 truths and a lie, and Susie has to pick out which is which.
All right,
All right, you ready?
go.
All right. So 2 facts, 1 not, but 3 things. Ready? Number 1, I'm an ordained minister. Number 2, I played minor league baseball. And number 3, I held elected public office for 8 years.
Number 3 is false. Number 1 is correct. Number 2 is correct.
Number 2 is false. So I am an ordained
Oh,
minister.
so you didn't do baseball.
I did not play baseball.
baseball.
In
I
fact,
took you for baseball. Fabulous.
I was
What do
about to
I
say,
don't
what
get
a lot
the
of-
prize.
I was about to.
So we have enjoyed
Yeah, this
so
is great.
much
Yeah, it's been a
having
great
you.
time.
Yeah, this is really
And
fun.
Adam,
Yeah.
this is what we do. A wrap for us.
That's a wrap.
And then we come into another episode of Northern Illinois Biz Chats.
And don't forget to follow us on socials to see more local businesses.
And that's it for us until next time.
That's a wrap.